Okay, so we're going to get started here with our 6 weeks to success. So congratulations for those of you who are already hitting it week 3 and have completed all your assignments. I'm super excited for all of you. So if you already did week 3, or if you already did weeks 1 and 2, and you did all your homework and you're still with us, congratulations, you did it. You are awesome. So what have we learned so far? We're going to kind of go back here and we're going to take a look at what we've done up to this point. So far, you've learned that you need to increase your product knowledge in order to maximize your sales and bookings. So if you're not using your tools, you know that you got to get them out. You need to know about your products. By knowing your products is going to increase your sales. You're going to be able to give people tips, and you're going to be able to get more bookings that way. We've also talked and learned about belief. Belief will decide what you can believe that you can do and not do. So you can retrain your brain to believe, yes, I can do this. So you have to have that belief. We've also learned how to talk to people when we're out and about. So how can you book parties? You learn how to book parties at your shows and learned how to book parties when you're out and about. So these are something that you've learned in the past 2 weeks. So kudos to you. You've also learned that your passion will shine through, and that's going to influence your bookings and your purchases at your shows. If you are passionate about a product and you are excited about it, it is going to rub off on everybody at the party. It's going to rub off on your host. So passion and belief have been our 2 pillars that we've been working on. And one of the things we're going to take a look at tonight is host coaching. So today, that's what we're going to be discussing. It's one of my favorite topics to talk about. So host coaching, here we go. So hold on to your seats and get ready for some excitement. First of all, I want you to think about working smarter, not harder, okay? So when you start host coaching, that is when you are going to start to earn your paycheck. However, you're not officially going to pick up your paycheck till the show is actually held. Host coaching is going to guide you into the direction to get yourself a larger paycheck and a happier host. So that's why we're going to learn to work smarter and not harder. So some of you might be sitting on the other end of the phone right now going, oh my gosh, so how do I host coach effectively? Well, I don't know what to do, So maybe this is going through your brain. Maybe you've never host coached since you started. Maybe you're new. So what we're going to talk about is where you could officially begin host coaching. And this is where you're working smarter, not harder, is if you start right now, host coaching right at the party. So don't worry if there's a line behind everybody. Don't worry about the time. Focus on those people that already agreed to booking shows and making sure that when you are checking people out, you are offering the opportunity to have a show and earn those rewards to every single person, showing them the host rewards in the back of the catalog. This is your time to be one-on-one with every guest. It's your time to show them your passion about it. It's your chance to show them the rewards and the products that they can get for a discounted price for their kitchens. So this is where your host coaching can begin. So you're not spending the time on the phone getting bookings. You're not spending the time host coaching right away. You're going to start right there in person that night. So you're double dipping there, okay? You're going to have your regular party going on and host coaching for the next. So one of the things that you're going to start to do is carry host packets with you, making sure that you have several packets already prepackaged and ready to go. That way, those people that book shows, you're already able to hand them their host packet that night. Inside your packets, you want to have 3 catalogs. 2 of them for getting orders, passing around, friends, family, whichever. 1 is for them to have a Sharpie marker and write all over it. Making sure that they are going to be able to make wish lists for themselves, circle the items that they want. Heck, they're going to circle so much in that catalog that they want, they're going to have to rebook with you in 6 months again. So that's the idea. You want them to want these products. You want them to have that catalog in their hands. Ask them how many people that they would like to have at their shows. Sometimes people will say, oh, I don't know if I know enough people. You, my dears, are the experts. It is your job to ensure that they can have enough people, to make them feel better, making sure that they have a goal set of how many guests to have. I always tell my hosts I want them to invite at least 40 people. And then sometimes you'll get that, that pushback. Oh, I don't know 40 people. And then as an expert, I guide them to those 40. Okay, so tell me some of your friends. Let's make a list right now. Tell me your friends that you're closest to. Tell me your neighbors. Tell me your family members you would invite. By the time they leave, we already have their guest list developed and they already have 40 names. I tell them that if they want to have a good show, and I show them the host rewards in the catalog. And I say, then what was your top wish list item you want tonight? Guaranteed they're going to say a grill pan or a rock rocker or a stainless steel pan or the multi-pot. So my job now is to make sure they have a good 15 guests at their party. So I show them what it looks like to have $1,000 party because they're going to reap the best benefits our company has to offer them. And then I get them excited about that. And I say, oh, but look, you can get that rock for free plus more. You'll get $215 in free when you have that $1,000 party. So you're going to have money left over. You're going to have money you're going to be able to pick items that have price and 60%. Oh, it's amazing. Asking them, what is the minimum, show amount that you want to have? What items do you want to have, and helping them to see. They're going to have such a long wish list. They're not going to be able to have a $300 minimum show. They're going to want that big dollar show. It's your job to teach them how to get it. You're the expert. Teaching them the 5-15-5. Great program for you. 5 orders before the show begins. 15 orders because you're going to have 15 paying guests there. And 5 orders once the show is over. So that's one of your jobs to have. So teaching them, hey, guess what? If you have 5 orders before I even get to your house, you're going to get this. And sometimes I'll say 5 orders or $200 in sales before I arrive because then my show already is qualified. Your job then as the consultant is to work on those and that product knowledge and getting those good 15 orders at the show. And your guests are going to resell to each other. And then the 5 orders after, challenge your host. If Sally here has a show and it's $918, guess what I'm doing? Even if she hit that 5-15-5, I'm challenging her to hit that 1,000. So I'm going to push her back out the door to get a couple more orders. That's you. Your passion, your excitement is going to drive your host's excitement. Okay? Then the next thing we're going to look at is communication. Oftentimes, the reason hosts fail at parties is because they really don't know what to do. Just because we know what to do and we know what to expect does not mean your hosts do. This is where it's your job to make sure that you are communicating and that you are telling your host the things that they need to be aware of. What comes next? First, we're going to start with inviting people. Then we're going to make the menu. That's your job. You're the consultant. Okay? So tell me, you as a consultant, which show would you rather have? Do you want to have the $300 show where you go out for 3 hours, leave your family, and make $60? Or do you want the $1,000 show where you now make $220 in 3 hours? You have a happy host, you have a happy family, and you have a happy paycheck. And that's also going to carry over to your family and to your own life. So think, do I want the mediocre show or do I want that fantastic one? Because depending on which one it is will allow you to work smarter, not harder, and also for you to be more concise and to make sure your host is a happy host. So, host coaching, what must you do? Well, we need a wow factor. You're going to get that excitement going. You're going to connect. You're going to encourage, and you're going to support those hosts. So, you want to reach out probably a good 3 times to your host before your show actually takes place. So you're going to start that host coaching the night of the show that you see them there. If you're doing this and you book it out and about or you're doing it over the phone, you host coach it when you're out and about. If it's a phone conversation, get that host coaching started as soon as they book that show. All right? Some things that you can do. Send them, to touch base with them. Some of you will book shows that are a week. Some of them are 2 months. Some of them are 6 months away. Some of them a month away. Your job is still to reach out and keep them excited. So you want to constantly, not overwhelmingly, but, reach out. Send a text message. Send an email. Keep that excitement and enthusiasm going for your host. Hey, did you look at the catalog? Which item do you really want? First contact that you do is obviously walking them through that host program. This is something I would still reiterate when you call them, even if you did it in person with them. And walk them through that step-by-step process. Show them what it's like to have $1,000 show, what they're going to, which rewards they're going to reap. Guide them on in their guest inviting. Making it personal. I cannot stress this enough. Facebook, we have all run into problems with lately with the algorithm of who sees things. If you're using Facebook and this works for your host, tagging people, making sure you're putting posts up. But I cannot stress enough, me personally, to have $1,000 shows, I make sure it's a personal connection. People are going to come when you send them a mailed invitation. They're going to come when you personally call and you personally invite them, sending them a personal text message. A general message where we invited 500 people to meet is just not personal enough, and that's my take on things. But if I go to an event and say, oh, well, they just added me because they added everybody. I like when it's personal, and I try to train my host that way. So to make it that personal connection, okay, that's something I would highly recommend. Another thing is that your job is to help them track their yeses, their nos, and their maybes. It's their job to get their folks to the party if it's a live event, but it's also your job to help them make sure that we have a good turnout and guide them if they're not sure what to do next. Making them excited, giving them ideas how to get more guests. Hey, did you invite your neighbors? Invite your neighbors that you don't know. This is your opportunity to get to know them. Using a tracking sheet for each host. Everything that you can do, track what it is. Give your host a checklist of what to track, what your host needs to do. Give them a letter in their packet. That way your host knows what the expectations are. Your job is to help them have the best show possible. You, however, are still the expert. So your job is to be the expert as far as the inviting goes, as far as what recipes are great to do to showcase the products that you want to showcase, building the excitement, and making sure that you're reaching out to your host regularly to build that excitement for them and that encouragement. You could, instead of have their host set up a Facebook event, or you could do it in post all the time if you want to. That's up to you. You could send out a personal text message. We used to use RedSnap, but that's no longer available. PicCollage is a great one. Some other people, I'm sure, could post what apps work great for them. Make little images. You could reuse them over and over. Just change your host name and what the information as far as the date goes. The second, also in the first contact, you want to also let your host know what their specials are. What are they going to reap? In May, they're going to get 60% off cookware. This may entice more people to host during that time, or for them to work for even more free products. Letting them know their URL. If you have a tech-savvy person, let them have the URL and let them send it away. If you have somebody that's not so tech-savvy, it's your job. Get on the phone and help them, because you're going to generate more sales for you and for your host by teaching them how to save that URL and then send it to people. It's not hard, and you could train somebody how to do that. And then they're going to know for the next party they book with you anyways. And also the guest special, letting them know the guest special. People may be more enticed to spend the $75 if they like that product that's going to be the free product that they get with the guest specials. Posting that on the Facebook event. Putting it in the little invite you send, the little pic collage that you make. Letting your host and the guests know. When you do a second contact, this is important to double check on your attendance, checking where your host is at, guiding them. So maybe telling them, if they only have a couple yeses, what can they do? Well, remind them. Send out, do a reminder call, do a reminder text, telling everybody to bring a friend, touching base with anybody that said maybe, offering an incentive to your host if they have 15 people there. The other thing that you can do, plan the menu if you help them plan the menu if they haven't done so. So if they haven't already planned the menu, and that you haven't planned it with, because sometimes we also do that where we might already give them the menu ahead of time, or we kind of plan it with the theme. This is a good time now to plan the menu and come up with a theme. You could even use that in the invitation. Or if you're not doing it specifically as a theme with your invitation, this is where you're going to let them know what menu items. And this could be between you and your host deciding, or if you just say, this is what really works, this is great, this is what I think we should do that will showcase some products, then let your host know. You're the expert. We don't want to spend our time showcasing $5 products. You're going to want to spend the time showcasing those top dollar items, okay? And then contact 3, this is usually 2 to 3 days before the party. This is where you're going to confirm attendance. This is where you're going to give them any last minute directions that they need, double check that they know what the ingredients that you shared with them on call 2, making sure that they're good with the ingredients. This is where you want to make sure that you let your host know that, if the recipe calls for basil, it's okay to get fresh basil because we're going to use a tool to showcase how to cut that. Or cheese, that you have a grater, so get them the fresh block. This is going to increase those sales. This is where that product knowledge comes in. You could share about, the quality of cheese, and if you shred your own, you're going to get more for your dollar value. This is those tips. And if you don't know these tips, once I post this call on, post what tips you're curious about. Ask me those questions. I'll share tips with you. I don't mind. And then, of course, after the party, you're going to obviously touch base with your host again to close up. check on outside orders, see how close they are to that next level, because, Sally was at 918. We want to get her to 1,000. Okay? So now you need to set up your system. We all have a system for what works and what doesn't work. So one of the things, some of you may choose to use a binder. Maybe you like to have paper and you want to have a chart in your binder. You could do that. You could do a spreadsheet on Excel. You could create a chart on Word. And then you want to keep track of all your host names. So now you have Sally, you have Mary Lou, you have Joe, you have Betty. Plug those names in. Keep track of which number call you've done with them. Keep track of notes so you can refer back to it each time you talk to them. This system is going to be to make it quick, simple little discussions with your host, and it's going to be effective, and then you're going to be able to keep track of everything, and it's going to be very systematic for you to make it easier to make sure you're doing your end of the bargain. So now, your host coaching is a partnership. You and your host are going to build a friendship. This is what our business is about, is relationship building. So by you creating this partnership, your host is going to get a ton free. They're going to get half price. They're going to get discounted. And you're going to get that paycheck you want, that $220 paycheck, not the $60 one. So you got to think to yourself, is it worth it? Is it worth getting on the phone with that host 3 times for 10 minutes or 5 minutes? Is it worth reaching out to them, calling them one time, and then maybe doing calls otherwise, or text messages otherwise to get that $220 in 3 hours? I think it is. Plus how many bookings you're going to get in person, and you're already starting that host coaching. So think about this to yourself. Product knowledge, passion, skill, all these things are going to drive that larger check for you. And that brings me to what I just mentioned, skill. We have 4 pillars. You talked about the first 2. Skill is the easiest pillar we're going to talk about. Skill is one that is going to be able to be fixed by anyone at any given time. These are some simple ways for you to increase skill. Use your tools. Get those tools out of the box, get your hands on them, and get using them with your family. Don't be afraid. Let the kids in, let the wife or the husband or whoever it is, get your hands on them. Try them in different ways. Wrap that garlic, crush some chocolate. Put it on top of a dessert. Make it look like a sprinkled chocolate on it. Makes it fun, but it gives you something more to talk about at your show. Develop personal stories. I'm sure you have funny ones on when you didn't know how to use something. That can opener stumps a lot of people, or the microplane grater, how you open and close that thing. Oh my gosh, I'm sure you have stories about this. They're going to connect to you when you make it personal, and they understand you're human. They're going to connect to you. Study that catalog. You knowing that catalog shows that you are professional. Carry it with you wherever you go, making sure you know where things are located. That is what is going to make people go, ooh, she knows her stuff. Or wow, he really knows what he's talking about. Listen to home training office videos and trainings. PC University, all the ones that they put on our marketing pages. Look at them, watch them. Go to team meetings and recipe nights. You are going to leave there so excited with so much passion and belief because you're pumped up from everybody else. You're going to feed off of each other. You're going to love it. Okay? Those are the things that are going to drive your skill and all your passion and your belief. Conference. Put it in the calendars. August 2nd to the 5th. Best training you're going to find. Of course, you have the best directors in the company here. To all of us. But, you are going to learn from so many people at National Conference. So you're going to have networking galore. Put it in your calendar. Make that commitment. You are going to come back and you are going to build this business into an empire. And as long as you have belief, passion, and everything that we talk about each week in the skill, and next week you'll talk about will. But conference, I can't stress it enough. Don't be afraid. Call your director. Ask for help. Post on your team page. Hey, does anybody want to be my accountability partner? I need a partner and we're going to hold each other accountable. If you say you're going to book 2 shows this month, I challenge you, book 4. You will not grow living in a comfort zone. Get out of that comfort zone. Stop saying 2. Stop carrying your shows from April into May. Close those April shows in April. You can do this. Believe it. If you have 2 shows on your calendar for May and you want to roll over April, don't do it. Force yourself to close that show. Force yourself to book extra shows next month. This is that belief. You can do it. Read books on direct selling. Go on to Amazon. Look up direct selling. There's tons of resources. Read some books. Educate yourself. You have to be able to motivate yourself to a sense because this is your business. So we have peaks, we have valleys, every one of us. But you got to be able to say, you know what? I can do this. I will do this. So I'm going to read a book. This is gonna pump me up again. Watch YouTube videos. There's tons. You could look up Pampered Chef bookings, Pampered Chef recruiting, Pampered Chef Sharon Zellen, Pampered Chef Grace Bott, Pampered Chef Pam Constantino, Pampered Chef, anybody. Look it up and you're going to watch those videos. You're going to learn. Play the videos in your car as you're driving just to hear them. Do yourself a favor. We all drive from somewhere, from point A to point B at some point throughout the week. Do yourself a favor. Listen to a 5-minute call. Okay? Tons of resources out there. Do lots of shows. Listen, if you're doing 1 show a month, you're never going to get to that comfort zone. Challenge yourself and do 4 home cooking shows. Do 8 home cooking shows. You're only going to get better the more that you do. And you know what? Your guests are going to teach you things. Your guests that have been coming to Pampered Chef for 20 years, they're going to teach you things you never even knew. And guess what? You say, oh my gosh, I love that idea. I didn't know that. Thanks for sharing that. And you're going to put that mental note in. But guess what? Now your next show, you're going to talk about that. That's how you're going to build this. Skills are easily taught and they're easily caught. So if you're fibbing, they're going to catch you. Know your knowledge. Know your products. Know your information. Because if you can do it and you could talk about it, those skills are going to show. You can do this. So homework. This week, the homework is a little tedious. It's pretty involved. You're going to hear how Lisa Noto deals with objections. So if you are somebody that hears no and you get yourself all upset and your panties in an uproar, this is a great call for you this week because no is life. And no does not necessarily mean never. It may mean not right now. But you are going to listen to how one of our experts, Lisa Noto, deals with this, and Michael Yoakley. So you're going to be listening to this call. It's an audio. I will post this on the team page so you can go ahead and take time to do this. Challenge yourself. I love when I see that the homework is done in a day or two. It makes me so excited to think that you are motivated and you're excited. You're not waiting till last minute and waiting a couple extra days to do it. It means you're like, I got to get on that call. I got to listen to this. I have homework to do. I'm so pumped up. So I'll post this, and I love when I see your takeaways early because that toots my horn, I'll tell you. And then think to yourself, how many shows do I want to commit to booking this week? Do you want to stretch yourself? Do you want to grow, or do you want to be that plant that's always stuck in that same size pot? How many host coaching calls will you commit to? It's April. May didn't start yet. Get your doopies on the phone. Get your fingers typing in a private message and text, and get that coaching calls going. You really got to get on the phone at least once with your host. I get we all have busy lives. You do a text or something, but you need to talk to your host. That's going to create such a bond for you. It really is. Then think about this. How many leads do you think you're going to get? How many bookings did you end up getting? What were your sales? I want to challenge you. Go back and look at your sales last month. How many shows did you do that were $300? Did you do 5 $300 shows for $1,500 in sales? Because guess what? You just went out and worked about 15 hours. So do the math, what you made each show, about $60. Do you want to go out and do 5 shows for $1,500? Or do you want to put that behind you and do you want to go out and do 3 shows for $1,500? Because everything all your directors are telling you here every week, we're helping you increase these sales and having $1,000 parties. I know I'd rather work smarter, not harder. How about you? What did you have trouble with? Ask for help. We all go into points where we have trouble. We have ups and downs in the business. You're never going to be perfect. You're going to always grow. That's what's awesome about this. You have room to always grow. So just when you think you hit that biggest peak in your business, challenge yourself to hit a higher one. You can do it. And don't be afraid to brag. Brag, 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 brag. This is the only place in your world that you're going to be able to brag and nobody's going to get annoyed with you because we're going to be out there tooting your horn with you. This is the opportunity for you to brag, share your success because you're going to challenge other people on our teams. And when you're bragging, everybody knows that you got a new recruit and you got 5 bookings and blah, blah, blah. Guess what? Everybody's going to want to be just like you. And we're all going to be cheering you on. So don't be afraid to brag. So at this time, I want to thank you for attending tonight. I know we all have busy lives. I will put the audio version up, so that way if people weren't able to listen, you're able to jump back on this week or listen to it again. And don't forget to do your homework and touch base with your director to make sure we get those calls scheduled with everybody. And I will stay on for any questions that anybody has tonight.